So we've got the 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, 1 in high school and 2 at one of the local schools here. I've also got Poppy, who has moved here from up in Sydney, so she wants to finish year 11 and 12 here. Steve, he's amazing. Well, we met travelling a long time ago now. Gosh, we would have been together 18, 20 years, I guess. Didn't like each other at first, not at all.
And then one day we worked out we read very similar books and listened to very similar music. I was working for an overland company in Africa, doing tours and safaris. Alyssa and a couple of her friends were on their way back from the big OE experience in London, and they decided they'll transit through Africa, and they hopped on board, and them and about 20 other people were passengers on the truck.
Been in Sydney and Melbourne and things like that, so I'd done a lot of travelling around, and then Steve and I were living in Sydney and we worked for a racing team, so we went back to Europe a couple of times and worked for a truck racing team, which is huge over there. And then we came back here and we thought, let's just go back to Wagga and we'll just try it for a year. We're here thinking, we should do something. What about a business? So we're sort of entertaining the idea, and then we're down at the local pub and some friends were selling their truck business, and we went, look, they're a couple, they have little children, they have a business. So we bought it. It took us longer to buy a fridge than it did to buy this truck business. But it's, maybe it was meant to have happened. We do general freight. We connect a lot of businesses. It's business to business. We don't do a lot of the line haul stuff. So we do a business to business. We've got 9 trucks and they all head out. We do Canberra, Shepparton, trucks go to Albury. They're amazing. The drivers are amazing. They really do an incredible job every day. So Steve would go out and do the driving and things, and we didn't want to do too much. So we were happy with what we were earning. We just said we won't do too much on the business and stuff. We'll just keep it going as it is so that we can just bring the kids up really without it interfering with them. Steve came and started working as well from home. We'd put a driver in. Then we started another run. We started thinking about doing a bit more. He's a smart, clever man. He's very clever. Very quiet about it all, which is fine because I'm pretty noisy about everything. And he started thinking about doing another run, so we bought another run and he just built that up. So he jumped in the driving seat again for that. But then eventually it was like he didn't need to be in the driving seat and we just kept growing from there.
From when we started, we both had very different roles in the business. I was hands-on driving the truck, loading the truck, maintaining the truck, whereas Ellisa she was in the office doing the accounts, the bookkeeping, the emails and that type of thing. So right from the start we had 2 very different roles. Well,
while Steve was doing that, I started learning more about business because I was sitting at a computer going, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I remember going, turn it on, tab, 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 like I knew nothing about anything. And so while he was doing that, I started listening to stuff. I started listening to podcasts and things like that. And then I started getting involved in the Women in Business. And years ago they did a mentoring program, and so I made a bit of a, I said to myself, righto, go in. It's going to be I think 8-10 weeks long or something. Once a week, you can do this. So go into town and do that. And that was where I started to learn a lot more about the actual business, KPIs, the measurements, all those sort of things through this program. Also through it, I met these amazing people. Also having businesses, also juggling family, also, all the normal things that go on in your life started to come up. And I was going, there's a lot of us actually out there doing this. Like being in a group that's mostly women isn't about putting down men or anything like that. It's about finding other women that you relate to and you ask questions and they give you answers and they support you and you feel like it's all right. I'm not alone in this,
There's a woman in business, but everyone's forgetting the man that's behind.
So now we've got employees, Steve and I got more serious about looking after ourselves and things. So I meditate every morning. We both get up early and we both give ourselves space for ourselves. I spend my morning learning and stuff, and I also journal and I plan. We're both very good at planning. Years ago, when we lived in Sydney, we wrote something down, 10 things about, where would we be in 5 years? And then one day I found it and went, oh my gosh, all of that stuff happened. So I had this curiosity about goal setting and started learning a lot more about it. So we do spend a lot of time talking about what we want to do, where we're headed. I do a lot of drawing, my visions and things like that. So I'm actually at the moment currently working on something that we can put up because there's 17 staff now. We need something the truck drivers don't actually come in and sit around the office or anything like that. So we need some way of communicating and building that culture still, because culture is really important, especially when you get over a certain amount of staff. It's just really important that everyone's heading in the same direction. It's not just about making money. Making money is great, but it's about, we bring a lot of money into Wagga because we've got customers that range from Shepparton through to, they're just everywhere because of where we link up with our transport. There's a point where you go, what are we giving back to the community and stuff? So that's really important for me to let everyone know what Langfields is actually starting to do outside of just we're showing up and we're getting your freight from here to there. I think we complicate things too much and we make things too hard sometimes, and we've got to simplify it. And by doing that, if you just start doing the stuff you like. So at Langfields, I do the things I like doing. A lot of that is making the plans and making sure the people are happy. That's really important to me. I mean, we spend so much time at work. People show up to work, 5 days a week. You don't want them unhappy. It needs to be a place where they feel some joy, because, what's the point? People are really important. We're not social butterflies by any means, but we love people.
I describe Ellisa as a total giver. She's enthusiastic about everything. She's positive, just got a positive attitude to everything. So I met her at the front gates on her first day in the Horse and Sulky, and we've never looked back with that sort of rapport. She just knows how to build up relationships, and I've seen it with people who've come here, some of my friends. She just knows, got the ability to build up a relationship, and that's the basis to life, really, good relationships.
Part of us living where we are now, it's close to town, takes us a skip to get into the main street, takes us a skip to get into work, but the kids are always surrounded by nature. Every time they look outside, like at the moment we've got potty lambs, so they have to come out and they have to tramp across the frost in the winter.
One of us might be having a bit of a downer, or something's gone wrong, or something's sick. She brings over the food and the cakes, and we do the reverse. It's not like a barter system, but it's just a relationship over the fence. And now her children are coming over. If we're going away for a weekend now, we don't have to worry. They'll be over and let the chooks out. They'll feed the horses, they'll get the mail. So it's a really good, as I said, relationship.
Ellisa, crazy at work. Well, dancing on the security cameras is something she's done more than once. Showing off, yes, well, that's in her nature.
Doing the things that you love, and I tell you can do anything in Wagga. I don't want to speak Wagga up, but we really chose to live here. We could have lived anywhere. I've lived in London, I've been in Europe, I've been Sydney. I'm not trying to speak myself up here, but I've travelled and lived in a lot of different, I've lived in small villages, I've lived in big, I've lived in everywhere. I've done a lot over, it actually is a pretty grand life I've had.
Success is, it's a very open question. Well, what it means to one person is not necessarily the next person. We've got young families, so success for us is having that work-life balance, which we can achieve here.
Success to me is about how well you balance your entire life, not just a business sense. I don't even think of it. I think it's the whole balance of who you are as a person, how you're involved in your community, how you're involved in your family, how your relationships are with your friends, and how you show up every day. If someone young came and spoke to me and said, look, I'm thinking of starting something up, I'd say go for it. If they're a creative, I'd say get a bookkeeper. Don't do that stuff, don't bog yourself down with all the compliance and all those things. Outsource, get people. I'd say be brave. The first thing I ever wrote down was fortune favours the brave.
Without Ellisa and her input, into the business and her different approach to different things, we wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't have the growth that we've got. I possibly still would be just driving the one truck around town, and that'll be it as far as we've ever got. Because of her approach, her ideas, that's definitely helped the business no end. And without it, we wouldn't be as strong and as good as what we are today.